The time is 12 o'clock. Here is the midday news. First, the top stories. Ogun State receives 5.7 billion naira from second tranche of Paris loan refund. PDP to hold special non-elective national convention on August 12. Ondo State government secures oil block license to exploit bitumen deposits. And powerful explosions in Maiduguri, leaving several dead and injured. On the foreign scene, US imposes fresh sanctions on Iran over ballistic missile tests, and French military head quits over cuts in defense votes by president. Good afternoon, I am Chienye Egwuonwu, bringing you the details of the news shortly. Ogun State government has received 5.7 billion naira as its share of the second tranche of the Paris-London club's loan refund. Finance Commissioner Wale Oshinowo, who broke the news in a statement, says 4.5 billion naira, representing 79% of the loan refund, has been earmarked for the payment of part of the arrears of deductions from salaries of the state and local government civil servants. According to Oshinowo, 3.4 billion naira is for the payment to the state civil servants, the arrears of 6 months of the deduction from their salaries for cooperative societies. Also, 1.1 billion naira, according to him, is earmarked for the part payment of deduction from salaries of local governments to the cooperative societies, and the balance of 1.2 billion naira will be used for the expenditure of the state. Meanwhile, the presidency has released a fresh 24.3 billion naira to 36 state governments and federal capital territory for the second tranche of the Paris-London club's loan refund. The highest recipients of the loan refund are Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa, Delta, Kano, and Rivers State, which got 10 billion naira each. They were trailed by Lagos State with 8.3 billion naira, while Katsina had 8.2 billion naira, Plateau 7.9 billion naira, Oyo 7.9 billion naira, Niger 7.2 billion naira, Ondo 7 billion naira, and Borno State 7 billion naira. The lowest recipients include FCT with 684 million naira, Kwara State 5.1 billion naira, Zamfara 5.4 billion naira, Yobe State 5.4 billion naira, and Ogun with 5.7 billion naira. Finance Minister Kemi Adeosun, in a statement, says the condition for the release of the loan refund is that state governments own salaries, pensions, and other financial obligations will use a minimum of 75% of their share to clear them. Ogun State House of Assembly has begun considering the state's administration of criminal justice and other related matters bill, which seeks to fast-track dispensation of criminal cases in the state's courts and to decongest prisons. The bill passed through the second reading following a motion passed by the Assembly's Committee Chairman on Justice, Ethics and Public Petition, Adebowale Ojuri, seconded by Bowale Sholaja, during the House plenary. Rock City FM had on Monday reported that the Abeokuta branch of the Nigeria Bar Association (NBA) is worried that the delay in passing the bill is affecting the application of the Criminal Act and dispensation of justice in the state. Opening debate on the bill, the House Majority Leader Adeyinka Mafe says it's very comprehensive as it covers areas not contained in the criminal code being used in courts, including the arrest and detention of suspects, as well as the bill requirements for the release of suspects and prosecution of such suspects. Adebowale Ojuri, who sponsored the bill, explains that it will make the administration of criminal justice system more effective in the state.
Is to ensure that the system of administration of justice, these institutions themselves. The second is the speedy dispensation of justice. The third is the protection of our society from crime. And the fourth is the protection of the rights and interests of the suspect, the defendant, and the victim. Mr. Speaker, as Majority Leader already mentioned, I will join him.
The Speaker, Suraj Adekunbi, has referred the bill to the Committee on Justice, Ethics and Public Petitions for further consideration. PDP will hold a non-elective national convention on August 12. PDP spokesman Dayo Adeyeye, who announced this at the end of the meeting of the party's National Executive Council in Abuja, explains that the proposed convention will extend the tenure of the McCarthy National Caretaker Committee, scheduled to expire on August 16. The tenure expansion, according to him, will enable the Caretaker Committee to conduct a proper national convention. The meeting, he adds, also approves the sack of state executive councils set up by the sacked sheriff faction in some states, especially Benue and Jigawa states, after the last February 17 appeal court ruling. The meeting also approved the setting up of disciplinary and reconciliation committees. Meanwhile, the sacked PDP national chairman, Senator Alimodu Sharif, says his faction is working with the world anti-graft bodies to ensure the prosecution of corrupt members of the party. Sharif, in a statement by the faction spokesman, Bernard Miko, says the targeted PDP leaders include those with criminal cases. He asks his PDP supporters not to defect from the party, saying he is committed to bringing the party back to the grassroots and will not allow corrupt politicians to use PDP platform. Sharif explains he did not attend the Monday's meeting of the PDP Expanded National Caucus, which was convened by the McCarthy Caretaker Committee, because he was not invited. A woman with leukemia who is at the center of a campaign to allow her donor Nigerian sister to come to the UK has died. Martha Williams, 26, traveled to the UK to donate stem cells to a 24-year-old May Brown. The UK Home Office reversed the decision not to issue Ms. Williams a visa after more than 60,000 signed an online petition. The transplant was deemed a success in March, but the African Caribbean Leukemia Trust said Mrs. Brown died on Friday following a relapse. Ondo State government has been issued with an all-block license to exploit the bitumen deposit in the state. Mines and Steel Development Minister Dr. Kayode Fayemi, who made this known in Akure at the first Ondo State Investment Forum, says the bitumen deposit in the state can meet Africa's demand. Nigeria, according to the minister at present, imports over 600,000 metric tons of asphalt yearly for its road projects, adding that bitumen produced in the state will stop importation of asphalt. Governor Rotimi Akeredolu puts the bitumen deposit in the state at 42 billion barrels. Powerful explosions have rocked Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, leaving several people dead and injured. The powerful explosions, which occurred between 10:45 p.m. and 11 p.m. on Tuesday night, caused panic in the city as it was felt all over the metropolis. The first 4 powerful explosions was followed later by 2 other powerful ones. The cause of the explosion is not yet known and the number of casualties not known. The city, which has been subjected to frequent attacks by suicide bombers in the past months, had last Monday had female suicide bombers in several attacks in the city, which killed 12 worshippers and injured others in a mosque. You're still listening to the Midday News on Rock City 101.9 FM. Up next, we bring you foreign, business and sports news. Please do stay with us. Now in foreign, the US has announced fresh sanctions against Iran over its ballistic missile program and what it says is Iran's support for terror organizations. The US State Department said 18 entities or individuals would be affected by the new measures. It said all 18 had supported Iran's ballistic missile program or the elite Republican Guards Corps. The statement also criticized Iran's support for the Syrian government and groups such as the Hezbollah and Hamas. It also accused Iran of prolonging the conflict in Yemen by providing support for Houthi rebels. Iran has vowed to retaliate against the new sanctions, and the announcement came a day after the Trump administration certified that Iran was complying with a 2015 deal to limit its nuclear program. The head of the French armed forces has quit after a clash with President Emmanuel Macron over budget cuts. General Pierre de Villiers said in a statement he could no longer guarantee the durability of the army model that it considered necessary to ensure France's protection. France's government last week revealed major cuts to bring its budget deficit below the level of an EU cap. Mr. Macron had said he would not tolerate dissent from the military, and General de Villiers had reportedly said the president should not mess with him on the matter, using a far stronger expletive. Next is the business news. Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) says federal government has recorded a budget deficit of 397.74 billion naira in May. The figure is far higher than the provisional monthly budget deficit of 196.40 billion naira in the 2017 budgetary year. CBN, in its latest report, attributed the poor performance relative to the budget to the effect of the slowdown in general economic activities, which has impacted negatively on most of the components of the non-oil revenue. The decline in oil revenue relative to the monthly budget estimate was attributed to the shortfall in revenue from the crude oil and gas exports and also the petroleum profit tax royalties. Domestic crude oil production was estimated at 1.63 million barrels daily, or 50.53 million barrels in May 2017, but the crude oil export was estimated at 1.18 million barrels daily, or 36.58 million barrels in the review month. Finally, in the midday news is the sports news. Nigeria home-based Super Eagles will resume training for the 2018 CHAN qualifiers next week Monday in Kano State. The 2018 CHAN tournament will be hosted by Kenya in January, and Nigeria is paired to face winner between Togo and Benin Republic in the final round of the qualifiers in August. Super Eagles chief coach Salisu Yusuf has invited 30 NPFL players for preparation ahead of the games next month. Super Eagles media officer Toyi Ipitoyi says the team will open camp in Kano State after the midweek and weekend league matches. Nigeria has featured in the last two previous editions in South Africa and Rwanda respectively. Lobby Stars striker Anthony Okpotu is close to scoring his 65th goal of the Nigeria Professional Football League since his debut in 2010. In his first season in 2010-2011, Okpotu scored 8 goals, and the next he improved on it by adding 2 more goals to his tally. Okpotu in the 2012-2013 season scored 10 goals again before leaving Lobby to join Libyan side Al Ittihad in 2014. He returned to the NPFL in 2015 after the unrest in Libya, which meant all foreign players departed the North African nation and rejoined Lobby Stars midway in their campaign. Okpotu ended the campaign with 15 goals, and just last season, Okpotu, nicknamed the Panther, scored 12 goals, and this term he has netted 13 so far. That was the midday news, and just before we go, the major stories once again. Ogun State received 5.7 billion naira from second tranche of Paris loan refund. PDP to hold special non-elective national convention on August 12. Ondo State government secured oil block license to exploit bitumen deposit, and powerful explosions in Maiduguri left several people dead and injured. While in foreign, we reported that the US imposed fresh sanctions on Iran over ballistic missile tests, and French military head quit over cuts in defense votes by presidents. For more stories and to listen to us live, please log on to our website www.rockcityfmradio.com/live. Thank you very much for listening. I am Chienye. Good afternoon, and do have a wonderful day ahead.